Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Monday, November 3rd, 2025. I, of course, am Hammer, founder of Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. You could check those out at their websites, Originator Success, Grab and Go Social, and Rate Sensei. Remember, you can join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube. If you're here this morning, say good morning. Let me know that you're here. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, just give me a hashtag replay in the comments. And for those of you that quietly watch and friends of mine, so glad to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Hope you had a great weekend. So it's fun to know that there's non-mortgage friends that listen to me ramble. So I appreciate you. I do. So if you're here this morning, this is apparently this new YouTube thing where it shows us like the whole name, like Amber, instead of saying, Amber Moser, it's the YouTube Amber Moser 3887. Unfortunately, that's around to stick around. So I'll have to remember everybody's name. And if I forget your name for your handle, please don't get mad at me. I should get better. There's easy ones like Amber's and Mike's because their name is in it. And then like Loans with Mo and sometimes there's ones that they're all businessy and things like that. So anyway, good morning, Greg Favola. It's a name I don't recognize. Glad to have you here, Greg. Is this your first time or have you been watching before? Will Patterson, good morning. Brandy Brickler, Jen Henderson, good morning. I'm looking to see who else we got here. Michael Scott Love. We've got Hojo, the LO, Holly. Good morning, Holly Johnson. Allison Foy, Mallory Fotiadis, Megan Bissell. We got Amy Blauser, Jessica Wells. Jessica, what's up? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're living your best life, my friend. Hope things are well for you. Monica Dinkins. Yeah, thank you, Monica. It's a struggle but I will memorize all of them is what I'm going to have to do. So I usually don't take the brain power. I'm not going to lie. You guys know how that is. So anyway, if you're here this morning, say good morning. Remember, if you'd like a quick reminder that I'm going live, you want to get a text alert just so you don't miss the show, you can go ahead and sign up at hmmr.io/reminder or use this cool QR code over here. If you're on your phone right now, take a screenshot, go back to your photos. That QR code will still work. We don't use your number for any nefarious purposes. I don't sell it. I don't give it to Rocket Mortgage. I don't use it for trigger leads. So don't worry. You can put it in there and be safe with us. And also, if you would like to sign up for our free daily lock advice email, you can sign up at www.ratelockadvice.com. Remember, that comes from hammer@ratesensei.com. That domain still getting recognized by a lot of the lenders. So if you don't get the email, you need to contact your IT team and say ratesensei.com. SENSEI.com, ratesensei.com. Tell them they need to whitelist that domain so you get your emails because we're sending them. You're just not getting them. Also, you can sign up for our text alerts. And let's go ahead and use this as an opportunity to talk about what we had come up yesterday. There we go. So here's a quick recap of what happened. I feel like I'm echoey this morning. Presentify. There it is. Okay. So here is a quick reminder of what happened on Friday. We started out the day. We were up about 7 basis points. You can see that here. And bonds fighting to improve this morning, at least temporarily, eliminating any urgency to lock. If bonds can hold the gains through the day, it could be a sign that we may not see rate sheets worsen next week like happened after the last Fed meeting. So for now, let's cautiously float and see what the rest of the day brings. But the reason that we need the text alerts is because the rest of the day brought us poo-poo. And I'll give you the details on this in a minute. But we, instead of being plus 7 basis points, we actually ended the day down about 8 basis points. The 10-year yield bumped up a couple more basis points up to 410. Bonds gave up early gains, could fall to 100.96 before hitting the 50-day moving average. We're going to take a look at the technicals in a minute and see if we did that. If that fails, we could drop to 100.77, which means we likely see rates jump another eighth of a point from where they were at on Friday. There's no guarantee things could have to get worse, but there's a good chance that things could go that way next week. It's a bit conservative, but locking still looks like a good call. If we take a look and see, let's take a look and see where we ended up and if it was a good call. Good morning, Ron Siegel. Today is National Sandwich Day, number 13 at Jersey Mike's with rosemary bread. Jersey Mike's and Danny DeVito, huh? So, all right, we will come back to the stuff. Leroy woke up at 6:30, forgetting Arizona doesn't change time. Yeah, that's all right. I had some history. I fell asleep at 7:00 last night. But anyway, so quick recap. What did actually happen here? Let me show you in the world of bonds. Let me just adjust this over so that you guys can see. Do you see what I see? Here you go. And let me bump this up a little bit. Wow, it's extra echoey this morning. All right. So taking a look here, quick recap of what happened on Friday. We talked about how bonds were improved on the morning right here as pricing came out. We were up on the day, and that does put a bit of a smile on your face. It did help pricing at the beginning of the day. However, through the rest of the day, you could see that mortgage-backed securities lost ground, went down. We're down below where we were. And then this morning, we are continuing those losses, and that gives us a frowny face for sure. Taking a look at the 10-year Treasury yield, it's a similar story. It's now all the way up to 4.11. Remember, we were below 4 for just a hair right here. We were down below 4, but you could see that since the Fed meeting was on Wednesday, the 29th. No, it was on, when was the Fed meeting? No, it was the 17th, wasn't it? Yeah. So, or the 22nd. So on the 22nd, we've seen, that was where we were at the lowest, and we've seen that 10-year Treasury yield pushing up. Take a look here. You'll see this red line. This is the 50-day moving average. That's at 4.10. This morning, up above that already. And we could continue to see it where it capped out right about here around 4.18. That was where we were back, in September. So it's definitely got some room to continue to worsen before we hit some form of support. But it's not going to be the greatest thing ever. So take a look. Also, let me turn, there we go, slide this over. You can see here with mortgage-backed securities, of course, here it is, the 29th. Yeah, see, what was I saying, 22nd? 29th was our big loss last Wednesday. It shows you, man, my brain is fried. And then we lost ground Thursday, Friday, losing ground here. Last time we had a Fed meeting, that was right here. It's September 17th. That's where my brain was going. So, and you could see that we lost ground for the week after. And I had said that I was concerned we could see that same thing happening. And that is what we're seeing, almost verbatim, like what's the same thing, where it wasn't so bad the next 2 days, but then the following week it got worse. And that's we're very likely to see that happen, likely to see the things here. When we look at rate sheets, what that actually means for rates, we were down as low as 6.13 right before the meeting. You see that right here, 6.13. And then we've since been jumping up. Friday was a little bit better, but you're going to lose that ground again today and be back around 6.3. That was as high as where it got on Thursday. And then that kind of puts us where we're likely to see rate sheets go where they were at the beginning of October. Rates are likely to creep a little bit higher. So rate sheets, pricing is slipping. We see the same pattern as we saw after those previous Fed meetings. Reprice risk on the day. Bonds are, I know why it's doing that, because we can hear. I normally have it plugged in. I'll change that later. Let me see if I do that. There it is. That got rid of the echo. No, it didn't. All right. Anyway, bonds are down early, could continue drifting lower, but not in danger of a big sell-off. The rate outlook, rates look likely to creep higher, probably another eighth back to where they were at the beginning of October is kind of where we see that going. So otherwise, what else do we have today to talk about? The shutdown continues, right? So we've got some stuff going on there as far as the shutdown. Democrats urge Trump to engage in talks as shutdown closes in on record. And there's talk of SNAP benefits being stopped, but then there was an emergency court order that would have kept them going. I don't know where that last stood. So I'm not the best resource for that. I don't remember if I don't know if the SNAP benefits were going out in November or if they weren't. But basically, you can see there's still continued talk here. Of course, the big thing stopping everything is that it's funny because Fetterman is one of the ones that a lot of people, he's easy to make fun of, especially because of he wears sweatshirts, he doesn't dress in suits, but he almost seems to bring, and he's the one that had the stroke as he was being elected. But he seems to bring the most common sense to the table. It seems like we're moving against our core values to keep our government shut down at this point. An outspoken critic of his party's stance on Stieden's State of the Union, citing concerns about food aid and assistance for women and children. So, the big argument is that the Democrats are trying to dig their feet in for the ACA. No matter how we feel about this, the time to argue this was when they did the big bloated bill. And trying to do it now just is kind of desperation. As far as, are we close to seeing an end to the shutdown, and what would that have an effect on mortgage rates? It does not seem like we are close, at least not according to a lot of what I'm seeing. Anyone seeing anything that makes it sound like we're closer than this? And then when we do see the budget, the shutdown lifted and the budget get passed, it's not likely to see a immediate knee-jerk reaction in bonds, but as we start to get data, that will then play more of a role. This was an interesting article this morning about how the economy has defied doomsday predictions on tariffs. Inflation is lower than expected after President Trump's steep levies. And then there was maybe it's in Bloomberg, where there was one that said that even when he's going in front of the Supreme Court soon, and it said that hey, no matter what, they were still going to focus on keeping the stuff there. I don't see it, but I know I read it somewhere. So anyway, early signs for the labor market. That was another interesting article here. We don't have any regular data coming in about, from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So this talked about a wave of U.S. layoffs flash early warning signs for the job market. And that could be something that markets are paying attention to for the non-data scenario, right? Where we've seen this, Starbucks corporate fired 900 corporate employees. Target eliminated 1,800 roles. Amazon, 14,000 corporate jobs, blamed artificial intelligence. Paramount, 1,000 workers, completed a merger. Molson Coors, 400 jobs, can't get carb-conscious consumers to drink enough beer. So there's a lot of talk of people losing jobs and not people getting new jobs. So this article was kind of an interesting take on it, again, because we don't have the resources that we normally have that we could be seeing some of that. So there was also an interesting thing on Bloomberg with Moran and his take on why he didn't really say anything, though, about why, he felt that the Fed policy is still too restrictive. But he didn't really say anything about why. He just said that he felt that it was. So Ron said 2 judges gave conflicting orders. They ordered continuation of benefits, but did not tell the administration where to find the money. I know, right? Like it kind of doesn't make sense when they do that. The emergency fund the judge ordered to be used does not have enough funds to adhere to the order. And then other comment, Fetterman made a good comment amongst many. The workers will get back pay. However, that doesn't cover the cost of funds they had to borrow to stay afloat during the shutdown. He claimed that would cost the workers $500 million in interest expense. That's a very real possibility. That's a great point as well. I agree with you. Randy said, do we really need government? The longer the shutdown, the more we ask. Well, we do. I'll tell you what, Newark, they're running an average of 3-hour delays at a Newark International Airport right now. And there's a lot of different things on where the part of the government that we do have that's getting paid is the part we don't necessarily aren't happy with, and that's Congress and everything they're doing there. So That's for sure. Ron, the voices in my head. Yeah, definitely. But I usually don't listen to the voices in my head. Nicole Semerad, Carmen Amwendo. Good morning, Eric McDonald, Timmy Howe. Great to see all of you. Vicky McSweeney, Tom Stafford, Jerry Avila. Greg, longtime listener, first time commentator. Well, thank you for commenting. Glad to have you there the first time. And let's take a look at Siegel. We'll end with sandwiches. Siegel said today is National Sandwich Day. So the question of the day, what is your favorite sandwich? Do you like the, an Italian sub? What is your favorite sandwich? My favorite sandwich was one that they don't make anymore. My favorite sandwich was Quiznos. Years ago, we're talking 15 years ago, they had a peppercorn beef sandwich. It was delicious. I loved the peppercorn sauce. And when they stopped carrying that, it made me cry. They had other ones, but it wasn't the same. It was a hot sandwich because it was Quiznos, and Quiznos, they cook their, they heat their sandwiches. It was a hot sandwich with roast beef and that peppercorn sauce. Oh, it was to die for. Oh, it was delicious. Otherwise, at home, I love a good old ham and Swiss with mustard. If I'm going to Subway, I'm eating tuna. Some people have picked on the tuna. Let's see what y'all have said. What is your favorite sandwiches? We've got an egg salad sandwich. Now, Laura, I would never have gone there first. Egg salad. All right, I'll give it to you. I usually have 2 hard-boiled eggs every morning, but not necessarily an egg salad sandwich. Philly cheesesteak for Mike Brown. Gotta love. And if you go to Philly and get a true Philly cheesesteak, dude, they are delicious. Michael Scott Love, Italian sub from Hill in St. Louis, from the Hill. If I ever get back out to St. Louis, I'll have to try that, the Hill. I'll have to look for that. Mike's number 13, extra pickle. That's the same one that I think that Ron was saying, right? Was that Jersey Mike's? Yeah, he said Jersey Mike's, and it was also number 13. I'll have to take a look and see what the number 13 is. Is that like an Italian sub? Chicken cutlet, long hots, fresh mozzarella, balsamic glaze. What's long hots? Are those peppers? They had the most feral commercials. Quiznos, yeah. California Club, roast beef with hot capicola and sharp provolone, or corned beef. I had corned beef the other night, and pastrami if cooked in house on rye or marble rye bread. A hot Reuben. Yeah, my wife likes Reuben, Randy. Angela loved Quiznos. Yeah, me too. I miss it. We should all learn from the shutdown. Do not count on the government to feed our families unless absolutely necessary. Some really need the safety net. Some getting benefits do not. Yeah, I try not to focus too much on that. There's definitely a thing there. It was funny. It was like years and years ago. Very, very quick story because we're at 19 minutes, but being good parents, we're trying to teach our kids a lesson, and we had Christmas with someone that supposedly didn't, it was a single mom with 3 kids and didn't have anywhere to go for Christmas. And she was in the church, and we went to the church and we made food in their kitchen and brought a lot of stuff, and come to find out she just didn't feel like going to her mother's house and 2 towns over, because then she couldn't stay at the church. She would have had to stay at her mother's house for 3 days before she was allowed to come back. And she didn't feel like dealing with that. And her father was in a place and she didn't want to deal with him. So here it is. We thought she had no family. She just didn't feel like doing whatever. And my kids were wondering why she had, if she was struggling. And we talked about how there's people that, need help and are less fortunate. And they wanted to know why she had a brand new iPhone. And they don't even have iPhones, but she had a brand new iPhone, newer than my iPhone, and different things. So yeah, unfortunately, there are those situations, and it happens. But there's a lot of people that are getting need, and so it's definitely there. More sandwiches rolling in. Turkey, bacon, avocado. Mike Tebow says corned beef and Swiss. And they were hot peppers. All right, I thought so. Yeah, dude, your sandwich that's what I want for lunch today. Thanks, Greg. I Oh man, there's nowhere in here in Western North Carolina where I'm getting that sandwich. That is a Jersey or New York sandwich all day long. Chicken cutlet, breaded chicken cutlet, of course, right? Long with hot peppers, fresh mozzarella. Um, the original Kmart sub. I don't remember a Kmart sub. Jersey Mike's number 56, Big Kahuna Philly cheesesteak comes with hot peppers. Yeah, I love me some hot peppers. So, all right, my friends. All right, geez, these stories. Yeah, listen. I mean, it was definitely a learning experience for my kids. Not the one I wanted them to get, but it was one that they got. Homemade pastrami makes 3 weeks to make. Holy smokes, 3 weeks. Wow, that's crazy. So, all right, my friends. Well, we'll see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully, you'll join me. Remember, I do this each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. I hope you will join me tomorrow. I will see you then. Have a great one. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.